Guys, I'm Kyle Mylan. I'm back with another live. We're streaming live on Facebook, YouTube, both of our channels, my YouTube channel, as well as the company's MFG Tribe, and on LinkedIn. People love us on LinkedIn. If you guys are joining from LinkedIn, put a comment in the comment section because we will be reviewing these at break as well as on YouTube. For those of you that don't know me, aren't aware of my content, I come live now every single week, sometimes twice a week. Talk about industrial marketing and industrial sales. I give away everything that we do here at MFG Tribe. We are the top and leading industrial sales and marketing agency out there. Nobody can touch what we can do for companies from a performance standpoint and the services that we offer. Nobody can touch that either. We know a few things about industrial sales and marketing. Started this company 8 years ago. We've been working with some of the biggest brands out there, as well as some of the smaller ones that people didn't know about until we started their marketing. So the content of these shows is typically I talk for a certain period of time about a topic, and then we take a quick 30, 60-second break and go into the Q&A aspect. So if you guys have questions throughout the talking, please put them in the comment section below. Share it with somebody that you know if you get any sort of value out of this content. Without further ado, I will jump into my talking points for today. Today we're talking about industrial trade show marketing, maximizing your ROI. You guys, 2024 has started, obviously, and now's the time to start planning. What are you going to do with your trade shows? Hopefully you already planned in Q4 of last year and picked the trade shows, but if you did and you're like, I don't know what I want to do, maybe you can get some valuable information out of this live and out of these videos that can help you make those decisions and start your marketing off. It does not matter if you've got a trade show that's happening in October like FabTech or IMTS later this year. Things that I'm going to say today are important for you to take into consideration. So the first thing, we're going to go to the whiteboard for this. I got black. So the first thing is going to be pick the show. And hopefully you already did it. But if you haven't, here's some tips that I want you guys to think about. When it comes to the shows, you got to look at it. Are you going to exhibit at the show or are you going to attend the show? And there is something to say about attending trade shows. Like, don't think that you always have to exhibit. If you have to first identify who is the target audience at that specific show. So if you're like, I don't want to spend $20,000, $30,000 to exhibit at the show because I don't know about the ROI, but it makes sense for me to attend it. If you're going after exhibitors, that's easy. Just walk the show numerous times over the course of those 2 days and just have conversations with people. If it's the attendees that you're going after, that's a little bit of a different play. You can't go to those shows and walk them expecting to just always be able to grab people out of the aisleway, but you can. You can walk in there, you're walking down the aisle, you look at your competitor's booth, you're hawking it, you're eyeing it, and then you see people having conversations. There have been so many times that I have not only exhibited at trade shows and then walked during the lunch break when my associate was covering the booth and just look at the competitors and see who's having conversations and then grab that person that's walking down the aisle, one aisle over, and be like, hey, Joe, saw that you work for A, B, and C company. Are you guys open to having a conversation about X, Y, and Z, or whatever it is, just sparking a conversation? If you guys are walking the show and going after exhibitors, though, it's a different conversation. They don't want, ideally, to spend time, their valuable time. They spent money for the booth. They don't want to spend time engaging with you if you're not going to buy from them. That's typically how it goes. Now, last year, out of all the trade shows we went to, the FabTech people were surprisingly warm and inviting. I was not there to try and sell them anything. I was there to learn about them and have a conversation. And numerous times that I had conversations, they're like, well, what is it that you guys do? And we tell them what they do, and that sparks a deeper conversation, and business was generated from it just by seeming interested, because I legitimately was. So if you're going after exhibitors, just walk the show, have conversations. Don't go there and try and pitch them, but have conversations with people and be like, hey, so what is it that you guys do here? Ask them questions, compliment how their booth is, compliment their product, their service, whatever it is. And then they'll say, what is it that you guys do at your company? And just say, hey, this is what we do. We're in this space. If you guys ever need something, I'd love to give you my card, and just end it at that. So there is something to say about walking the shows. You either walk it to look at competition or walk it to say, I might want to exhibit here next year. So I'm going to walk the show to see how it plays out and see what the scope is, how things are set up, because you can only pick your booth. Like, is this booth going to be good? You're looking at a map, right? But if you've been to the show before, you know hot spots, you know areas where it's better than just looking at a map and seeing like this booth number D127 and knowing like, oh, it's a 20 by 20 booth, 40 by 40 booth. But walking the show just gives you at least the year in advance. Walking it gives a little bit more appreciation, a little bit more insight into where you could pick. But you have to look at it and say, there's shows that are close to me, and if it's easy for you to get to, there could be a reason for you to get there. Look at competition, look at possibly exhibiting at the show, or engage with people that are attending and have conversations. So much value comes from it. Do not rule that out. If it's something that's close to you or very important to your business that you're going to travel to, think that I can still walk a show and get value from it. You're not going to walk away with 20 or 40 leads, but you can still walk away with getting something out of your time spent. You're either going to learn something or have good conversations. But if you're exhibiting at those trade shows, you have to figure out, what shows am I going to do? And like I said, hopefully you did that last year, but if you haven't, at least focus on one. At a minimum, look at one trade show and go all in on it. One industry trade show. If you're in packaging, do Pack Expo. If you're in the metal fabrication and forming, do FabTech 2024 in Orlando. Look at IMTS, look at NPE if you're in plastics. Like, look at the trade shows and say, which one is the biggest in the industry that I can go into, because everybody in that space is going to be there. And don't look at it and say, I can only afford a 10 by 10 booth. That's not going to matter as we go throughout these 6 points that I have to talk about. It matters that you're there. It matters that you're going to it, that you're exhibiting at it, that you're going to do all the things that I'm going to review. So first thing is pick the show, whether you're walking or exhibiting. The next thing is going to be the collateral. And what I mean by collateral from a marketing standpoint is, what are you going to collateral? Maybe that's how you spell it. What are you going to do from a standpoint with your marketing to create something that's going to promote you guys at this show? And so we'll get into the pre-show marketing next, but you have to look at your collateral and say, how am I going to stand out? Too often times people are generating collateral that looks like everybody else. So go through LinkedIn, go through the feed, look at your competitors, look at, if you exhibited at the trade show, grab the show programs, look how people are setting up their displays and advertising. How can you be completely different to stand out? One thing that nobody ever thinks about, this is a massive tip. So let's say that this is my trade show, right? And this is like, I don't know, a 6 foot spread on this whiteboard. This is what usually happens when you're designing the booth backdrop. People design the booth backdrop to be head to toe awesome, right? With colors and words and all that. But if I'm at the booth, if I'm at the trade show and people are walking by where you guys are and walking by where Jordan is right now, and this is my open space, if you notice, nobody can really see anything that's like chest or below. So if you've got 2 people in the booth, you can't see what's behind me. You can't see this stuff. So when you're designing your booth backdrops, you need to make sure that it's at least waist to chest high and above from a relevant information standpoint. You can certainly fill up this lower space with cool graphics designs, things like that. But the majority of your content has to be chest and above, because as people are walking by, I'm walking down an aisle and I look at a booth, I'm going to look up versus try and look through the person and look at what's behind them. That's step number 1. The positioning of your collateral. Where are you putting the items? You need to have a clear open space in your booth. You need to be able to have people come in and out easily. You also need to remove all chairs from your booth. There should be no chairs whatsoever. You need to be able to be standing 95% of the time. If you do have to sit, you better make sure that there's at least 1 or 2 people working that booth for anybody that's walking by. But you need to be lively and active and have collateral out here that's going to draw people in. So as people are walking by, put yourself in their shoes. People are walking by, they're looking at the booths up and down, they go to the next one. And it's different if you have a massive booth. So if you work for a big company, you got a 40 by 60, a 60 by 80 booth. Some of the ones that were at FabTech were massive. Just the presence is taking up the space. But for the smaller companies that are 10 by 20, 20 by 30, just understand that the main aisleways, as people are walking by, you want to make sure that your collateral is going to stand out from them and draw their attention in. So whether it's a TV, a giveaway, a bottle of whiskey, a drone, whatever it is, just make sure that all of your relevant information back here is at least chest height and above, because people are always missing the mark. When we were walking through FabTech and MD&M last year, it's like people are still designing trade show booth backdrops all the way down to the floor. Keep that information above and make sure it's very simple. You're trying to draw their attention and you're trying to use relevant words that are going to hook them in. So it does not matter if it's a LinkedIn post organically, a paid ad, your booth backdrop, the brochure. You're trying to say, what are 3 words that I can use that are going to hook them in to then read further below it? let's get into number 3. Number 3 is going to be your pre-show marketing. When should it start? So your pre-show should start, I would say minimum, if it's a big trade show like one in August or September, October this year, I would start marketing today, as much time as you possibly can. If you can market, 3, 6, 9 months ahead of time, you need to start doing it. You don't want to be wrapped up into all the people that wait until 8 weeks before the show and then they start their marketing, right? They wait 8 weeks, 9 weeks, and then it's like everybody's doing hashtag this, hashtag that, posting all this content. You don't want to have to wait that long. You want to try and do it as early as possible. Create content that is original. It does not matter. You'll see it on our channel and on my page. Just shooting video content that's like this, saying, hey, we're going to be at the show. Are you guys going to be at the show? Put the hashtag in there. Follow that hashtag MDM West. So like, for instance, we're going to be at MDM West next month, which is in roughly 32 days. We're going to be at it. We're bringing a team. There's going to be 4 of us. They're going to be there. We're going to start. We already started marketing it last month. We're going to market it this month, and we're going to shoot raw content. Be like, if you guys are going to be there, check us out. We're already going to be doing research, following people on LinkedIn that are using that hashtag, companies that are attending, going and looking at the exhibitor list and saying, these are the people we want to go after. These are the booths we want to pay attention to. We have to start all that pre-show marketing as early as possible. If you're doing something like a giveaway, drones, whiskey, liquor, things like that are going to work great. Give away a TV, give away a 3D printer, give away something that's going to stop the audience as they're walking by. And you have to figure out what's relevant to them based on who you're going after. Purchasing people are going to care about one thing. Engineers are going to care about a different. Ops is going to care about something third. What is it that you can give away? What is it that you can have at your booth during the event that's going to draw their attention? And I would look at giving away some sort of tech. So like when we're at FabTech 2024 this year, give away a drone, give away some whiskey, give away something like that to draw people in to get attention. But all of that marketing is going to be done months and months and months in advance. If you don't have the time, that's fine. If it's like, Kyle, our shows in February, our shows in March, start doing it today, but you have to create so much content to push out there because it is noisy. Pushing out on LinkedIn, creating a web page on your website. This is something that people don't often do, is have a web page on your website that says IMTS 2024 / whatever the URL is, and put everything that you're going to be doing there, your giveaway, videos, your services, what your booth number is, a link to your to get a free pass to it. Put all that on a web page and then just push that web page out along with raw video content, raw graphics, things like that. That's the tactic that you need to push out there, because what's going to happen is once you get to under 8 weeks in, everybody's going to start doing it. So the sooner you can do it, the better. Have something that's unique and different. Look at what everybody else is posting. If everybody's posting graphics of their booth backdrop, like I saw one this morning, FabTech 2024, they did the rendering of their booth, and it's a massive booth. It's like, I don't know, probably like 4,000, 8,000 square foot booth. And they just did the whole 3D rendering of what it's going to look like. That's 10 months away. That's a smart move. You want to post that stuff as early as possible so people start thinking. There's less noise around it now than there will be in 9 months. So they're trying to already grab people that are interested in it. They're trying to grab people that are already paying attention to it so they can get listed as a booth that those potential people want to stop by. So start that stuff early. The next thing is going to be working the booth. This is like by far, work the booth. This is by far the weakest area of most industrial companies when it comes to working the actual trade show. You're only going to get in whatever you're only going to get out whatever you put in, right? And still, even today, still even a few months ago, still even probably next month when I'm at MD&M West in Anaheim, I'm going to see the same thing. This is what you get. You get a lot of people sitting down, and we're going to put some B-roll footage out on our website or out on YouTube of the footage that we caught. So when we were at FabTech, I'm like, Jordan, get that person, film that. People are just sitting down. They're sitting like this, looking at their phone, or standing there looking at their phone. And then as people come by, you see the classic, they look you in the eyes, look down at your name tag, and then determine whether or not they want to talk to you. So they're trying to pre-qualify people as they walk by. You have to be working the booth as much as possible. So if we draw up your booth, and let's just say for argument's sake, it's a basic square, right? Or let's say a rectangle. And this is your booth here. and this is the aisleway and the flow of traffic. Flow of traffic is going both directions. You do not need to be sitting inside of your booth. You should have people out here in the aisleway, in the front of the booth. You want to have that booth as empty as possible. So if this is my booth and I'm working it, and I've done this dozens of times, you want to have everything clear in the space, and you want to be out in the aisleway talking to people. And as they walk by, hey, good morning, Joe. Good morning, Susie. How's it going? Compliment. You guys think this is funny? Compliment. You're what? Oh, I'm sorry. I should say steady, right? So as people are walking around, you need to be able to have conversations with them and say, like, hey, good morning, giving them one compliment, engage with them. If you have some sort of stress ball or something like that, that would work best. So you can be like, hey, interested in stress ball, football, things like that. You want to engage with them somehow, ask them questions as they're out in the aisle. And then if they want to have a conversation with them, you can take them into your booth. But the key is that you need to be standing out there and working the booth. When I was at FabTech, I tagged a company in a post. I filmed it and said, these two guys are working this booth amazingly. We've got footage of that, and we created a video from it. And they're engaging, asking questions, complimenting people as they walk by. But that's the key, is that you have to be out in this aisleway and not in the booth. I know that you guys watching this are probably like, no, Kyle, I'm always in the aisleway. You're not, because I've seen you guys, and you're in there for some of the time, but I'm talking about all of the time. Never sitting down, stand there. We watched FabTech. We probably walked that show for, like 8 hours, 9 hours. We were at FabTech in cowboy boots, 10 hours. Jordan's saying 10 hours in cowboy boots. We walked the show, did not sit down. Even when we sat down, we were eating lunch for like 20 minutes outside. That was it. We walked the entire thing. I had a 30-pound backpack on my back with all of our stuff. So did Jordan, the rest of the team as well. We had swag with us. I know what it's like to be tired and your feet hurt and all that. You're in a booth, put down a better mat than what you have. Walk out in that aisleway. You only get one shot. Your company spent money for you to work that booth, so you better be working it. If you're going to D2P trade shows, design to part, they're probably the worst at this. Companies that exhibit there, there's a higher frequency of those people that are just sitting there. They've got a chair, a stool, a bench, something in the back, and they're just sitting there waiting for somebody to come by. Hey, oh, you want to have a conversation? Let me get off of my perch and come and have a conversation with you. You need to be out in that aisleway. I cannot stress it enough. Next trade show you go to, look at those people that are drawing attention. And it's going to be people that are walking around and working that booth and not just standing there, be like, hey, good morning. Hey, how's it going? Just like ask them a question. Hey, do you guys have any need for some metal forming equipment? What is it that you guys do at this company? You need to be engaging and draw them in. And you need to be smiling and happy about it. Just being like, good morning, how is it? How are you doing? Like, that's, nobody's going to want to talk to you. So you need to draw them in by being personable, having conversations out in that aisleway, give away something for free, ask them to put in your business card for a free chance at a drone giveaway, a bottle of whiskey. When we were at FabTech, somebody was doing a putting challenge. You had to nail 3 putts to then get put into this raffle to give away a bottle of whiskey. So there's lots of different tricks and tactics that you can use to do it. But the key is that when you're working that booth, when you're at that trade show, I don't care if you're the owner of your company and you spent $5,000, or if you're the head of sales or a sales engineer and they spent $50,000, you better be working that booth as much as you can to collect information, have conversations, get the leads in, and then determine what you want to do with them after that. So that's the key, work the booth. And if you guys tell me that you're doing it, I guarantee I'll mystery shop you and show that you're not. So number 5, purchase a list. Some of you guys know that you could do this. Some of you guys know that you don't know that you can. So you want to purchase a list from the trade show of the attendees based on some criteria, based on the form, the survey that they filled out. You want to purchase that list. And you want to purchase it from a standpoint of, they've said that they're interested in this. It does not matter if they came to your booth. This could cost you $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, $6,000 to get this list. It is important. It's relevant. If you guys are doing it on your own, if you guys are partnering with MFG Tribe, you don't necessarily always have to purchase that list, because we have little sneaky ways that we can get that information and other things we can do from an advertising standpoint. But if you guys are going at this on your own, purchase that list, because you can do so much with that information. I want to know the 1,800 people, the 600 people, the 220 people that said, I'm coming to this trade show to see 3D printing, and I do 3D printing. Those people didn't stop my booth. I've already got the list of the people that did, and there's only 20 people on that list, but here's 200 other people that did not stop my booth. I want to have a conversation with them. And that's going to go into the next step. But the first step is purchase the list. It is well worth it. It is not worth it to do show programs, guides, the email, stuff like that. I have never seen that work well, where it's going to cost you $1,500, $2,500 to have a full page ad in the show program. Who actually reads that? Yet the trade shows companies push that and say it's going to be seen by 48,000 people. It's not. They all get it. I get it. I use it as a paperweight in my office. Sometimes I flip through it to look at it from an advertising standpoint. Most time we flip through it and say, I want to go after all of these companies that are advertising at this trade show. I want to go after them, try and get them to be a client of MFG Tribe. But that's all that we use it for. So don't think that somebody's going to see your full page ad in a show program or see your side banner ad on the website. It's going to drive traffic. It could work, but usually it doesn't. If you think that it will work, ask for statistics. If you already spent money on it, ask them to prove to you how many people clicked that and went to your website. How many people responded to the email, clicked something in the email they sent out before the show or they sent out to their journal. I mean, that goes into the whole print advertising thing and how I'm against it a lot from a data standpoint. But prove it to me that it actually works. Prove it to me that it even got traffic to my website. That's step one. Step two is then converting that traffic into an opportunity. But purchasing that list, taking that away from it, you don't have to rely on them. You can say, here's 100 people, 1,000 people, 2,000 people. I'm going to do marketing with them on LinkedIn, email, phone calls, snail mail, direct advertising, retargeting, geo, like anything. You can do anything with that information. So information is key. Purchase that list. The last thing, and probably the most important, does not matter what you do in the first 5. This is what matters the most, is the follow-up. You can mess this up and not purchase the list. You can suck at working booths. You can not do enough pre-show marketing. Your collateral isn't the best and you picked the wrong show. But if you got somebody to have a conversation with you and they seemed interested and it is a potential opportunity, following up is going to be the one that determines, is that ROI positive or not? Now, what do I mean by following up? Most industrial people will follow up once or twice, or they send out an email or they have a phone call, and that is it. If you have 100 leads from a trade show that you work for 4 or 5 days with 5 sales engineers there, you need to go through that list and follow up with everybody at least 5 to 10 times using different methods. That's the key. If I send somebody an email saying, hey, great conversation with you at this trade show, at IMTS, at FabTech, at MPE, at Automate, at Pack Expo, great conversation with you. I wanted to follow up and see if we can have a conversation to talk about our solution to the problem that you identified in when we met. If you send that out and expect somebody to just respond to me and be like, yes, I do want to have a conversation with you. I want it to happen next Tuesday at 11 a.m. And I'm looking forward to having a potential opportunity to work together. That is usually not going to happen. You have to be persistent and consistent with the follow-up. You have to continuously do it and do different methods. Send them an email, send them a connection request on LinkedIn, send them messaging on LinkedIn, give them a phone call, send them snail mail. If people are ghosting you, you had a conversation with them, and it's been a month or 2 months since that show, send them some stuff in the mail. Hey, just want to send you this gift. Just want to send you some swag. You want to stay and be remembered. The only way to do that is going to be able to, or the only way to do that is going to be by changing your methods of follow-up. You cannot just rely on one single method. When you're having the conversation with the person and they give you the business card and they let you scan the badge, as they leave the booth, send them a connection request on LinkedIn. Great talking with you. In the note, invite them on LinkedIn to send the connection request. That's the way to do it, because then you're already connected with them. Now you can message them. So you're fresh in their mind. Send them a connection request right then. Send them a connection request when you go to lunch, and when you're done at the end of the day, going through all the business cards that you got, going through the leads that you retrieved, work and send every single one of those people a connection request and put in the invitation note, great seeing you at this trade show, looking forward to having future conversations with you, or something like that. They're going to see it. They're going to be like, oh yeah, I remember that guy or girl. Click accept. Now you've got them on their mobile device way easier than you do through email, because LinkedIn is less noisy for those people. But the follow-up is what is key. It does not matter how much money you spend or lack of money you spend, as long as you have conversations by working the booth, and any opportunities you get. If you get one opportunity from a trade show and that's worth $50,000 and you spent only $6,000 to get there or $16,000 to get there, it's ROI positive. Now you can tweak and perfect all of the other 5 areas to make sure that you get the biggest bang for your buck, but at a minimum, go back to every trade show you guys exhibited at last year, every trade show you attended, and go and reach out to all those people, because those are people you had actual conversations with, face-to-face time. They will remember you. Here's a hack. If you really want to get in front of people and you think that the email is going to be too noisy, send them a video. The best way to send them a video is going to be using Vidyard. We started using it about 4 months ago, and the results have been great. Sending them a video saying, hey, remember I saw you at this trade show, you stopped by our booth, I was looking on your website, I was going through the stuff, I think this would be a great fit for you, here's a piece of equipment, here's a highlight that we have, whatever it is, something to stand out. That's going to be the best way to do it. But the follow-up is critical. That's in all sales. Follow-up is what separates those that are making massive amount of income for themselves and those that are making just good income. All comes down to the follow-up. You need to have a system to organize it, hopefully something like HubSpot, Salesforce, anything out there, even if it's a spreadsheet. But the follow-up is what's going to make the difference between, are you massively getting a return on your investment? Are you just working? Like, I talked to 100 people, 50 of them were not right now type, 10 people told me no, 15 people, like, where it all comes down to, there was only 3 good conversations. I have 3 opportunities and all 3 of those are dead. We did not win them. Dude, you've got 97 other people that you can reach out to. So that, I would not look at that trade show as negative. I would say you need to work those 97 people. I would tell my sales team, you need to work them in all different areas. And then once you're done working them, go after their boss, their direct employees, if they're a manager, their coworkers, other departments. Go after everybody to go after that omnipresence and work them as hard as possible. We're going to take a quick break right now. We'll be back to answer any questions. Hopefully you guys have some questions in the comment section below. Leave them now. We'll be back in about 60 seconds to go through them.
Switch up the flow, show you the way that it go. God is good, but his life is hard. But it gets better when you grind it smart. I'm just really trying to leave a mark. We tired of being who they say we are. That's the baton, we gon' take it far. Always be real, we don't fake it all. Tired of 9 to 5, just making nothing survive. Only living on the weekends. You really thinking that's why I'm alive?
All right, we're back. Going to go through some of these comments that we have and questions. Let's hit it.
All right. We have one from Diana Yacht.
Diana said yacht. Not sure what that means. I know what that means.
Second one, actually from Vivis. I'm sorry if I can't say your name correctly.
Vikas?
Yeah, Vikas. What sources do you recommend to get information about the top industrial shows in the packaging industry?
So for packaging industry, it depends on what you're doing with packaging, what type of equipment you're selling. Pack Expo is a good show. With any industry, I would just Google search that industry trade show, see who's spending the most money on ads and who's showing up organic. So look at who's doing the Google Ads campaigns at the top, who's showing up organically, and then do a little bit of research. I think Pack Expo could be a great show for you. It depends specifically on what it is that you're selling. But do your research and say, I want to start with the biggest. What matters the most is who is attending. So whoever's attending those trade shows, that's going to determine if it's a good show for you or not. Do not go to it like if it's your first trade show. If you're like, I've stopped doing trade shows 5 years ago, but I want to do one this year, find the biggest one, the best one. You do not have to have the biggest amount of space. You just need to be strategic about where you're located, strategic about how you do pre-show marketing, and most importantly, how you're working the booth and doing the follow-up after that. But if you're just going to pick one, I would go after the biggest. If you're in the metal fabrication world, Fab Tech. If you're going to be doing general manufacturing technology, IMTS, but IMTS is massive. So it's like figure out which hall you're going to be in, what specific niche within all of the different categories, and go after those first, because that's going to be the highest likelihood for you to get some sort of ROI if you're going after the ones with the best audience. But it only matters who is attending. So look at those trade shows and say, who's attending those trade shows? They should have stats. We had 42,000 people attend last year. Here's the breakdown of where are they from, what size companies do they work at, and most importantly, what's their job function. If you're going after engineers and they're like, oh, mainly all the people that were here were salespeople or owners or operations people, that may not be the best trade show for you. So look at it and say, who's going to be going to those trade shows? Then determine your budget on how much bang for the buck can you get with what you want to spend. Is it going to cost you $20,000, $30,000 to get a big booth at a big trade show? It could, depends on what you're bringing to it. Or do you want to go after something small for the first year? But I would not. I would say go after the biggest trade show that's going to reduce the likelihood of you guys not getting something back. So it's going to increase that the likelihood that you will get some sort of ROI on it. Just be very strategic and say, who's going to be there? That's the one that I want to go after.
Next comment, we have Laura.
Laura, who's right there.
So excited to see 2024 trade show content.
Let's go, Laura.
I am.
She is.
And Mason, find us at MD&M West 2024.
Yeah, if you guys are going to be at MD&M West in Anaheim next month, February 5th, I think, 5th, 6th, 7th. Actually, no, I think the show is 6th, 7th, 8th. I'm going to be there from the 5th through the 7th. The rest of the team's going to be there, I think, the whole time through the 8th. But if you guys are going to be there, let us know. Shoot us a message, either myself, Alex, or Mason. Be like, hey, I want to talk to you guys. We're going to be there for, at least I'm going to be there for 2 full days. We're going to be walking that show. There's not that many exhibitors, so we're going to be walking it pretty hard with video camera and equipment, and we'll be able to do some free content for people as we're walking through the show, get some B-roll footage, maybe do some interviewing, some fun stuff. So check us out at MD&M West in Anaheim.
All right. Then we have Diana. What industrial trade shows are you looking forward to attending this year?
The trade show that I'm most looking forward to going to would probably have to be Fab Tech 2024 in Orlando, because we're going to have a booth there and we're bringing a decent amount of our team to that trade show. We've got numerous clients that are at that event that we're going to do some supporting content for. But that's going to be one of the first trade shows in a long time that I'm actually exhibiting at as an sales and marketing agency, whereas typically we just walk them or go and help out clients that have big booths there. So I'm looking forward to most FabTech 2024 in Orlando, because we're going to bring down the house at that event.
All right. Now we have Adam. He asks, hey, Kyle, big time follower, long time fan. How many trade shows do you recommend I attend per year?
Yeah, so it depends on what space you're in. I would say do one trade show. As far as how many trade shows should you do per year, I would say do one. Pick one that's good for you. It does not matter the size. Maybe you guys have been doing 20 of them. So this is going to the industrial people out there. Maybe you've done typically 20 trade shows a year. Look at which ones work the best and go all in on that one or maybe 2. I would say walk at least 3 or 4 a year, because you need to be able to see new things and get new ideas and see what your competition is doing. So look at your competitors and look at what their trade show schedule is. Look at which ones you're not going to be exhibiting at with them, and pick a couple that are easy for you to go to that you feel like is worth your time, and go and walk those trade shows. Look at everybody that's exhibiting, get ideas, have conversations, talk with other exhibitors, talk with the people attending, and try and get some money from it, because really all it is hotel and airfare if you have to travel to it, right? If it's local to you, it's just driving there. The cost to attend is typically free. So I would say at least travel to 3 or 4 a year to walk, but I would definitely at least do one main trade show this year in 2024, because I have a feeling that if you can be strategic, you will see a much better return on that investment.
All right, we have Liz. Can you tell us a little bit more about Vidyard and maybe show us an example of a vid you sent?
Liz. Okay, so I can't show you an example in this format because I don't have my computer. But so Vidyard is so it's a platform where you can record videos, but the key and it could be a camera on your face as well as your screen share. So what I use it for, and what I would tell a salesperson in industrial use it for, is go to a company's website, record the video of the camera. In the beginning of it, you're going to say like, "Hey Liz, it's Kyle from Manufacturing Tribe. I was on your website and noticed that you guys are doing X, Y, and Z, and I was pulling in your rankings and saw some areas of improvement. I wanted to see if you're open to having a conversation." Blah 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 blah. Right? It ends up being a 60-second video. The key with Vidyard is you can do that with Loom. What is it? Loom does the video recording. Like you can record a video, but the key with Vidyard is that it comes through as a link with a GIF. And the GIF you select as animated so it's not static. And so, Liz, if you saw a GIF of me waving, and your website of wherever you work is in the background, and I'm scrolling on it, and it's just doing like a 5-second loop of that, that will stand out of all the emails that you get. So I write something in the top like, "Liz, looking forward to talking to you about your 2024 marketing strategy. Check out the video below, some areas that I thought you could improve on." Then you have the video. When you click it, it opens up a tab in the web browser. You can watch the whole video. So with Vidyard, the key is I can do an animated thumbnail in it and embed it into the email. Number two is as you watch it, I can see all of the watch time. So I can see if you watch 78%, 38% of the video, where it came from, and I could do call to action at the end. Once you're done watching the video, hey, if you're interested, book some time here with me on my calendar to have a conversation. That's the power of Vidyard. Vidyard ties directly into HubSpot, and us being a HubSpot preferred partner, it made sense for us. It is not cheap though. It is like we're spending approximately, I think, $600 a month for 4 seats. It's not a cheap system. You got to sign a 12-month contract, but it does work. You can use it for pretty much anything. My sales guys are doing 5 to 10 videos a day right now. We're testing out to see what should that number be. What was it? I think last week on Tuesday, I did 12 videos in about 2.5 hours. And these are good videos providing some value to people to try and stand out and get attention back from them. Vidyard has been working great so far. I think it's something that is here to stay. They're the best out there as far as platform integrations. They work the best for us, so I think it's worth looking into for most people. I'm sure there's alternatives out there that maybe don't tie into different things, but check it out. Video, email marketing, and sending it with that animated thumbnail. And so if you're interested in more of that, Liz, I think the best thing would be sign up for our Industrial Sales Accelerator, where we're going to be going through that. I don't know if you're in sales or marketing, but Industrial Sales Accelerator is a group where we meet once a week on Fridays. I go through a presentation. None of this content is going to be pushed out anywhere publicly. Last week, we went through some automation on certain social platforms that was pretty powerful, but it's a close group. If you're interested, just send me the info or shoot me a DM, and I can send you the link to it. And we meet every single Friday for 60 minutes. I go through some top line stuff, screen sharing, all that stuff. It's recorded in the group, in the community. That stuff is typically not aired anywhere. And it's usually like the most hidden secrets of everything that we do is in the Industrial Sales Accelerator.
All right. Mason, how do I decide which trade shows I should attend?
Mason, for you specifically, ask me and I'll tell you. No, I'm just kidding. So figuring out trade shows that you should attend, you got to look at who's going to be there. That's what matters most. Who's going to be at these trade shows? What is the main focus going to be? Do not go into a trade show like I love Design Depart. Used to work with those guys so long ago. Great company, great group of people. But if I'm like, hey guys, we're going to go walk a trade show, I would not pick them first because the exhibitors at those trade shows a lot of times are not in the ideal target audience that we're trying to go after. So you first have to say, who am I trying to go after as customers? And if I'm going to exhibit at a trade show, who are going to be the attendees and how many? If it's like 60% finance people, don't go to that trade show. But pick an industry, pick a niche, and say, I want to go to this trade show. I'm going to exhibit, and just jot all the information down. How much is it going to cost me to exhibit? How much is it going to cost me to travel? How many days is it? What's the total audience? Who's going to be there? What type of impact can I have? And sometimes with trade shows that you've never been to before, never exhibited at, you just got to do it once. And as long as you do it the right way with those 5 steps that I listed, as long as you do it the right way, then you can definitely get see if it's worth it for you to do it next year.
Liz actually responded and says, "Thank you so much. Great info. I'm in."
All right, Liz, you're in. I will send you the link, and you could join us this Friday. Typically, we do it about, I think, 3 o'clock on Fridays. Everything's recorded, full replay within the community. None of the stuff is public.
All right. Tim, any thoughts on dress code? Stay formal or okay to have some fun?
Yeah, so it kind of depends on your brand. So for us, we typically do black MFG Tribe polos. We have a black jacket that we wear. It depends on your brand. I don't think that you have to be super formal at these things. It depends on who you're going after as well. If you're talking to engineers and the audience is coming in jeans and polos, you do not need to be wearing a suit or a sport coat and a button down. You can have fun with it. You could don't be crazy silly, but you can have some fun with it. That matters less as long as everybody's relatively uniformly dressed, right? They're all wearing roughly the same thing, like the same polo, the same look and feel. And then the ladies maybe are dressed differently because that happens commonly where ladies will be dressed in something differently than the guys. That's perfectly fine. I don't think that uniformity matters a ton, but I would say whatever makes you feel most comfortable. If you are the type of guy that's typically like t-shirt and jeans or polo and slacks, that's what you feel comfortable with. And then going to a trade show, your boss is like, dude, sport coat and button down or a tie, you're not going to perform the best because you're not super comfortable. So you need to be comfortable in what you're wearing. You need to be confident in what you're wearing, being like, look, I know I look good, I'm going to talk good, I'm going to act good, I'm confident, and you're going to exude that confidence out there that will attract those people towards you. So focus less on what you look like and more on what makes you feel comfortable, as long as it's up to par of, at a minimum, I would say business casual with dress pants or khakis with some sort of polo or a t-shirt, but anything to make you stand out. If you want to wear a red shirt or a red tie when everybody else is wearing black, do that. But look at the trade show and say, how can I stand out? Because everybody's going to be the same. As people are walking down the aisleway and then looking up and down at the trade shows, everybody tends to blend together and look the same. How can you stand out? Good question, Tim.
All right. Tim, again, how do the D2P trade shows rank for entry level small business?
D2P trade shows, I would say, are good if you're going after like the inventor types. If you're going after people with inventions, I mean, they're going to say like, oh, D2P Schaumburg, which is, I'm from Illinois, so I went to D2P Schaumburg a lot. That's one of the biggest shows. The Grapevine show used in Texas used to be also a big show from, as well as Boston. I've been to the Schaumburg show numerous times. I think that it's good depending on your niche. It could be good price point for you to start, but you have to look at who are you going after and who works at those companies. So look at company size, and they'll give you all that information. Just ask them. They'll give you, here's who's attending this show. Here's how many people. So it's like 1,800 people over 2 days. I think it used to be 5-10 years ago at Schaumburg. It was like 1,800 to 2,000 people over 2 days, 265 exhibitors. Look at who in your space is also exhibiting at the trade show, so you know your competition. Look at who's going to the trade show company size wise, because when I was exhibiting at those trade shows, there was a lot of inventors and people that just wanted to come by and grab the free swag. I know they're not all like that. I also had some good conversations with people at D2P trade shows. But I would look at that information. Who's your competitors at the trade show, so you know how you're going to stand out. Number two, who's attending it from a company size standpoint and job function. They'll have all that information for you. That should help you decide to spend whatever it's going to be, $3 grand, $5 grand, $6 grand for you to exhibit there. I would say 1,000% do not purchase any sort of advertising through it if you're just getting started, because trade show programs, pre-email, buyer guides directory, whatever, that all of the stuff that these trade shows are selling, scratch that off of your budget and say, I just want to exhibit. I have a decent booth backdrop and I'm going to work the booth, and that's how you're going to get the most ROI.
All right, Caitlin. Hi, Kyle. Just tuned in. As an exhibitor, do you have any tips on how to draw quality leads to your booth?
Quality leads to your booth. So the thing is that you don't, like, it's going to have to be relevant wording initially to draw in the people that are relevant to you. That's kind of step one, is like, is your backdrop, is your collateral relevant to them? Not just using buzzwords, but like draw in If you're medical device for these types of companies, say that in all of your collateral. So you have to be niche down and focus on who are you trying to go after to draw them in. But one thing that I always tell people is that you can't market your way out of ignorance. And what I mean by that is that your website can say you only do this. There will still be those people that completely ignore all of that information and still submit an RFQ that's not even relevant to you, or still submit an RFP that's not relevant, or have a live chat conversation asking you questions that obviously you're not a fit. It does not matter. You can't market your way out of the ignorance of people. So as far as to have like good quality conversations, you have to go through the steps and have lots and lots and lots of conversations. I'm the type of person at trade show, I will talk to every single person walking by. Here's what happens. You talk to one person, you're talking to a group of, let's say, 2 or 3 people in that group. Then your other guy has 3 or 4 people. You're starting to create a crowd around your booth. What happens with a crowd? As people walk by, they see a crowd, they say, what's happening over there? You get an extra 3 to 5 or 10 seconds of people pausing to look at what is it that you're doing when you have a crowd. Now, if you're at a massive trade show and you have a massive booth like a Haas booth at IMTS or at FabTech or something like that, and you've got a 43,000 square foot booth, there's going to be less like grouped attention around one single area unless you're given a demo. So I would say for the smaller booths, normal size booths, try and get some sort of crowd forming by having conversations with everybody. I would talk to everybody and see how the cookies crumble at the end of the day and the chips fall, and see how many people I can get just by having initial conversations. So the team says that's it for the questions. If you guys have any last minute questions, you better leave them in because we're about to jump out of here in the next 30 seconds or so. If you guys are new to my content, head over to YouTube. Please subscribe and turn on notifications. We're posting about 30 to 50 videos a week starting in 2024. Tons of content, behind the scenes content. You guys haven't even seen it yet. Episodes on a new series we're calling Mic'd Up, where I am mic'd up for the day, showing the day-to-day, behind the scenes, conversation, strategy, customer issues, internal stuff, everything in between. Also, we will be bringing back one of the shows we used to do a few years ago called Make Cool Shit TV. We will be bringing that back in 2024. All of that content, though, is going to be on YouTube. So you better head over, type in my name, subscribe to it, turn on notifications. If you guys aren't following me on LinkedIn yet and you're just coming across this, make sure you hit that follow button. Send me a connection request if it's relevant. I will accept it. If it's not, I won't. We're good to go. So they're saying no more comments. We're good to go. I will see you guys on the next one.